We recognize today the essential and timely work of the Institute to develop and apply a practical understanding of the nature of conflict. Ronald Reagan said peace is not the absence of conflict, but rather the ability to manage conflict through peaceful means. Our job is to give the means, the skills, to understand and manage conflict, to bring peace to all of the stakeholders, policymakers, diplomats, the military, jurists, journalists, academics, people of faith, and very importantly, non-government organizations. One of our great strengths is the ability to convene bipartisan groups at the request of Congress to constructively examine difficult issues in international affairs. We view this as an important role in these contentious times. The headquarters building, which we formally begin to construct today, will have several roles. It will be a working building where the operations of the Institute will be conducted. It will be an educational center where students and the public can learn about our global challenges and how to deal with them. And, most importantly, the building will be a symbol. It is our deep hope that this building, and particularly its roof sculpture, glowing translucent white at night, will become a powerful symbol to this city, this country, the world.
We truly appreciate you joining us today to celebrate what is a major step forward in realizing a noble but daunting vision, the establishment of an institution dedicated, as our charter says, to educating and training in the ways of furthering the national interest in the promotion of international peace. Our staff, guided by our congressional mandate, have developed approaches to conflict management that are helping our country cope with today's challenges to peace. Our programs are designed, as we like to say, to quote, think, act, teach, and train in the skills of peace building. And our work today brings us closer to fulfilling that founding vision of a national institution dedicated to training professionals in the skills of nonviolent conflict management. Here we are at the corner of the National Mall and within sight of the memorials to our great national sacrifices in war. The facility that will emerge from the excavation just behind me here and the two brick buildings beside us will give permanence to the work of the Institute of Peace and prominence to that hopeful, challenging vision of a national institution that can help our country better manage conflict by peaceful means.
You and I are sitting on hallowed ground. I like to think that President Lincoln will step down from his chair over there and will, with the hallowed dead of this country's treasure, visit the Institute in its new quarters to remind them to give everything they have to the pursuit of peace.
This land was quarried for the rock that was used to build the U.S. Capitol and the White House, beacons of democracy throughout the world. From this land, again, the foundations of democracy and freedom can be strengthened once again when it becomes the home of the U.S. Institute of Peace. Thankfully, we have the U.S. Institute of Peace to help us move toward a more respectful, a more generous, and a more peaceful world.
It takes the same level of energy, analysis, planning, resources, and resolve to plant the seeds of peace as it does to sharpen the spears of war. But winning the peace, that is much more difficult. It can't be done in one meeting, in one trip, or one conference, or by the military alone. But the ground we break here today, and we do it proudly, will represent more than concrete, steel, and glass. Rising in the shadows of memorials to America's gravest wars, this building will live forever as a symbol of hope of our nation to build monuments to peace, not to war.
The quality and composition of the crowd kind of spells out what this organization is about. I suppose you would say it's bipartisan, but it's really bipartisan support for a nonpartisan effort to examine these problems of peace, how violence erupts, what to do about it, and so on, in a nonpartisan manner. This organization became a collector of a vast array of factual information. In the parlance of the day, you might say it had become a fact tank. And then, of course, that's not enough. You've got to analyze this material and try to figure out how did it happen, what took place, what were the motivating factors. How do you put all this into the context of the information age? And so, in addition, the U.S. Institute for Peace is a think tank. But then it's done more than that. And the notion has been, well, you think you know something about conflict resolution, you think you know something about reconciliation. We have plenty of problems here, let's see what you can do. So it's become a do tank, an interesting and unique organization.
I'm really pleased to be here. I appreciate what you do to resolve conflict and to support new democracies and to build peace by promoting effective diplomacy. The U.S. Institute of Peace is playing an important role, and I thank you for that. In Afghanistan, you're helping a young democracy establish the rule of law and strengthen public education and build a civil society. In Iraq, you're helping the nation overcome the legacy of decades of tyranny by strengthening government institutions and promoting peaceful engagement. And although the struggle against violent extremism is in its early years, there's no doubt in my mind freedom will again prevail. The work of democratic development is the great cause of our time, and we shouldn't shy away from it. And we must be confident in our ability to help others realize the blessings of freedom. My big concern is that the United States becomes isolationist and nervous. We don't support those values that have stood the test of time. The Institute of Peace, I hope, will make sure that never happens. Advancing the cause of liberty is necessary to advance the cause of peace. I'm honored to be with you today. Looking forward to coming back someday to see this building when it's built.
But today, I can't tell you how happy I am to be in this spot and to be with the President of the United States and the Speaker of the House, the Leader of the Senate, and so many great people, Secretaries of State, who have given time and effort for peace. We are going to commit a temple of peace where people can get together and work for peace. We are committed for peace in our times. And I ask the good Lord to bless all of you, especially those who work so hard for peace, and to bring us all safely home. God bless you all.